everyone. So, India is going through a really huge demographic shift. Its population of senior citizens is growing incredibly fast, and that brings up a pretty big question. How do we make sure our elders can live secure and dignified lives? Well, today we're going to dive into the Indian government's big answer to that, a scheme called AVYA. First things first, let's just try to get our heads around the massive scale of this. Just look at this number, 17.3 crore. That's how many senior citizens India is expected to have by 2026. I mean, to put that into perspective, that is more than the entire population of Russia. So yeah, this isn't just some small change, it's a fundamental transformation of our society. And this timeline really shows you just how quickly all this has happened. We've shot up from just under 2 crore senior citizens back in 1951 to a projection of 17.3 crore by 2026. Now, on one hand, this is fantastic news, right? It means we've got better healthcare, people are living longer, but it also presents what the government itself calls a major challenge. How do we support this rapidly growing population? So, that's what we're going to break down today. We'll start with the challenge itself, then introduce the AVI scheme. After that, we'll look at its specific goals, explore the 5 core programs that make it all happen, and wrap up with the overall vision behind it. All right, so first up, let's properly set the stage. We're talking about a huge shift in the very fabric of Indian society. So when you're facing a challenge this big, how do you even begin to tackle it? Well, that brings us to the government's flagship program, the AVYAY scheme. So what exactly is AVYA? Well, the full name is Atal Vayo Abhyuday Yojana, but at its heart, it's a central government initiative with a really clear mission to improve the quality of life for India's elderly. Think of it as a giant umbrella scheme that brings a bunch of different programs together under one roof. And this quote right here, it gets to the very soul of the scheme. See, it's not just about helping people live longer lives. It's about adding real quality to those years. The goal is a life that is secure, dignified, and productive. Okay, so with that big idea in mind, let's dig into the nitty-gritty. What are the actual concrete goals that the AVYA scheme is trying to achieve? So the main goal is pretty straightforward. Make life better for seniors. And this happens in 2 ways. First, by providing really essential practical things like shelter, food, and medical care. And second, by creating an environment where they can stay active and feel like a part of society. And supporting that main objective are these broader developmental goals. The scheme looks at the whole picture, everything from financial security and healthcare to protecting their life and property. And importantly, it also wants to promote active aging and something called the silver economy, which is a fascinating idea we'll get to in just a bit. All right, so we've covered the why and the what. Now let's get to the how. How does AVA actually deliver on all these promises? It does it through 5 core programs, which you can think of as 5 pillars of support. These 5 programs are really the engine that makes the whole YAY scheme run. Now, don't worry about the acronyms just yet. IPSRC, SAPSRC, RVY, SCOPE, and SAGE. We're going to walk through what each one actually does. Together, they create this multi-layered approach to senior welfare, covering everything from basic shelter to economic innovation. So let's start with that first pillar, IPSRC, the Integrated Program for Senior Citizens. This is all about that foundational, on-the-ground support. Basically, IPSRC gives financial help to NGOs and other groups to run senior citizen homes. It's really focused on making sure the most vulnerable people, especially poor or indigent seniors, have access to the absolute basics, a roof over their head, food, and healthcare. Okay, next up is SAPSRC. This is where the central government teams up with the states. Because, let's be honest, a one-size-fits-all plan is never going to work in a country as diverse as India. What's really smart about this part is that it empowers each state and union territory to create their own action plan, one that's tailor-made for their specific local needs. Then, the central government steps in with the funding to help make those customized plans a reality. It's all about making sure the help is relevant on the ground. All right, let's move on to our third pillar, RVY, which stands for Rashtriya Vayoshree Yojana. This one is all about physical well-being and making sure people can get around. Through RVY, seniors who are dealing with age-related disabilities can get assisted living devices for free. We're talking about things like wheelchairs, hearing aids, walkers, even spectacles. The whole point is to help give them back a sense of normalcy and independence in their day-to-day lives. And they make sure the equipment is high quality and meets all the official standards. Now, these last two pillars are maybe the most forward-thinking because they work together to build that silver economy we mentioned earlier. This is a huge shift in thinking, right? It's about seeing seniors not just as people who need welfare, but as valuable economic contributors and consumers. So first, you've got Scope, which is all about employment. It's a portal that connects experienced seniors with companies that could really use their skills. Then you have Sage, which is about enterprise and innovation. This program encourages startups to invent new products and services specifically for the senior care market. So Scope is about jobs, and Sage is about building an entire economic ecosystem around the needs of seniors. So, after all that, let's pull all of these different threads together. What's the big picture, the grand vision that comes out of these 5 pillars? Ultimately, the goal is nothing less than building an age-friendly India. AVY isn't just one single program, it's a whole framework. It starts with the basics, like shelter and health aids, and goes all the way up to creating brand new economic opportunities. It's a truly holistic vision for making sure our elders are cared for and respected on every single level. And that kind of brings us to a final thought. A government scheme like AVA can provide the structure and the funding, but the real work, that happens on the ground, in our own communities, in our neighborhoods. So it leaves us with a question to think about. What can we, our communities, and each of us as individuals do to make sure that a life of true dignity is a reality for all our elders? Thanks for joining me.